This video got recommended to me today. It has a ton of views.
I don't think I've ever seen more doomsaying than in the environment around Riot's MMO. In fact, right now, you wouldn't believe it, whenever I talk to anyone from the gaming audience, the vast majority of the people believe that the Riot MMO has been cancelled. This stems from the fact that in the past, Riot announced the reset of the
Oh, that is actually true. A lot of people have been saying, isn't the Riot MMO canceled? And I'm like, what are you guys talking about? That was a post from like a year ago when they were like laying off people or something.
MMO, after which everything's been quiet. But of course, if you pay attention to the MMO's development, you would know that the team working on the Riot MMO currently is absolutely stacked full of talent. We are talking about veterans from all kinds of successful MMOs. And today, we'll even point out a new addition. But also, Mark Merrill himself said publicly that they want to release the MMO before 2030. So yes, only 4 years to go. And people still have no idea that the game might even be coming. Well, the truth is that while I feel confident that we will see the MMO, one way or another, it is undeniable that Riot is fighting an uphill battle the entire time. It is a battle that simply keeps claiming all of their rivals. And very recently, there's some news that came out about this. You see, in case you are not an MMO person, currently the king of all MMORPGs
is World of Warcraft. And why isn't Old School RuneScape on here? New World is canceled. Where's OSRS? It's not even on here. I feel like World of Warcraft and OSRS are the top two MMOs right now, and then Final Fantasy has some people still playing it, and Guild Wars a little bit too.
Still remains to be World of Warcraft.
A lot of people.
That is taking into account both the retail version and all the versions of Classic. But while the second one in line was always confidently Final Fantasy, with Guild Wars somewhere behind that, surprisingly, against all odds, Old School RuneScape started climbing up, and now they are pulling off some big number.
OSRS hype! That's my mage right there on my pure on DMM. Just ready to smoke noobs in the wilderness. Except I always end up getting smoked.
Once again, this started working to such a level that WoW started teasing they might do a similar thing in the future. By this, they pretty much told us that something might be happening at BlizzCon. Anyway, outside of these established MMO titans, all the dedicated players have always been waiting for the next big MMO to destroy everyone else. And
I've been waiting for the next big MMO for 25 years, since this one came out. I've always tried the next MMO. I played RuneScape into Star Wars Galaxies into WoW, and then it was always like, try another MMO, come back to WoW. Try another MMO, come back to WoW. And that just kept repeating for 20 years. And eventually, I'm just like, screw it. Let's just stick with WoW. And then 6 months ago, a bunch of my friends started playing this one, and they didn't quit. And I'm like, wait a second. That game I played when I was 12, people are playing that? And then I tried it as well, and now I play it more than I do WoW. It's crazy. So I went from here to like 14 other games, back to WoW, back to RuneScape. That's crazy.
And from the list of upcoming MMOs, 3 rose above the rest. There is the Riot MMO that might still be the most hyped up MMO on the market. But right next to them, there was always...
Yeah, and that's just like a rumor. I mean, they're working on it, but there's no announcement, no alphas, no, it's not even close to alpha. Like, we're probably 6 years away before we start getting real hype around the Riot MMO. But there's hype around the Riot MMO because it's a good company, but the game is like, we're not playing that. We're playing Classic Plus next. Classic Plus is happening. And so hopefully Classic Plus is good and Riot MMO has to compete against Classic Plus. And then we have maybe 3 MMOs to play one day. That's the best case scenario.
Which was led by the former lead of World of Warcraft as well as the former lead of the Riot MMO. And then, of course, there's also Ashes of Creation, a really big MMO project that originally started on a Kickstarter where...
there was Ashes of Creation. And I think it's done now. I'm pretty sure Ashes is done now.
They did get about $3 million from funding, after which this became the game that showed the most promise when it comes to evolving MMORPGs.
It did show a lot of promise.
These 3 games that together stood for the future of this genre. So why is it all dead? So in case you missed it, the Ghost MMO was eventually shut down. That is after the investor stopped being confident in the project and the studio was not able to find a new investor. And so, long story short, the Ghost is gone. And yes, they also had quite a lot of really good talent. The big culprit here
Just watching a video real quick. I'll be done in like 10 minutes or so.
Those who played it said that it's okay. And that was kinda it. But then, when it comes to Ashes of Creation, well, that's where the news come in. So, for quite some time, Ashes of Creation actually was in a playable alpha or beta, whatever they called it. Meaning
it was
the game
alpha.
was actually playable. As to what degree the playability was there, well, that's another question. For example, from the general feedback, you can tell that people really liked the combat. That's where this game really felt like an evolving MMO. However, all the social features and progression wasn't good, which was always the key selling point of this MMO. They were supposed to have advanced features all across the world, and even though this is just a testing phase...
Brother, I was always so optimistic about Ashes of Creation. Like, I thought maybe it could work, but I also at the same time thought they were trying to do too many things and it was too many systems and it was incredibly hard to balance. Like, they were going to have 64 different class combinations. They never even released the secondary class combinations. You could only play the primaries and they were just promising so much. This game was like, had red flags written all over it, but because there was no other MMO on the horizon anytime soon, there was so much hopium. There's so much hopium in the MMO community because everyone just wants to play a new MMO. Like, we just want to be in another world for a bit. And it's sad that this kind of thing would happen, but it's honestly like we kind of saw this coming. Like, that this game wasn't going to be able to pull off what it was trying to promise. And they just rug pulled it.
People have been testing this for many months and nothing happened. And so, Ashes of Creation actually gave us an update on January 29th. To our glorious community,
that's like 2 days ago.
Ashes of Creation exists because
3
of
days
you.
ago.
Every tester who logs in reports a bug and challenges us to do better. This world is shaped not just by our developers, but by the people who believe in what Vera can become. We know that some of you are frustrated right now. We feel that. You've been candid about the issues impacting your experience, and you deserve clarity and honesty in return. The concerns we hear the most clearly include the impact of real money trading, bots and cheating on fairness and progression, PvP and corruption systems that don't yet feel consistent or fully realized, issues surrounding caravans, crates and risk versus rewards gameplay, content and system bugs that interrupt gameplay, performance and stability problems that pull you out of the world. These are not small things.
Yeah, so Ashes of Creation was kind of gonna be like Dead Man mode, like the whole world. You could attack anybody anywhere, but then you would get flagged up and you had a chance of like getting 1 or 2 of their items. You wouldn't get all of their stuff, but if you were flagged up, then you could lose all of your stuff or something like that. So it was kind of going to be like a Dead Man mode, like a permanent Dead Man mode, but with a little bit less risk. So the idea behind it was pretty cool, but some people didn't like that. And so that was a pretty controversial way to try and mix PvP. The idea was like you build up your gear with PvM or PvE, and then you lose it in PvP. Like, that was the kind of the premises, a PvX style game. And a lot of people weren't really on board with that.
They touch the core of what Ashes of Creation is meant to be. A living, player-driven MMORPG where your time, effort and choices matter. We are actively working on these areas and many of them are deeply interconnected. Solving one often requires structural changes across multiple systems. That work is underway. So in short, yes, the team knows that the game is kinda crumbling, but they did tell us that there is gonna be an update on February 13th. Now, as to what that update is gonna be about, no one has any idea because the game is falling apart. because a day later, mass resignations came in. And so we got a message from Steven, who was the lead producer of the entire game. I can make a limited statement in my personal capacity, and not on behalf of the company regarding the situation. Control of the company shifted away from...
How? This sentence is what bothers me. Control of the company shifted away from me. How? His whole vision, he sold us in the whole vision that he was going to be the guy to steer the ship the whole time, and it was his company, and he was putting in all the money, so there was no corporate interest, and there was no board. He was the board. I thought we were investing in a tyranny style system where Steven had control over everything, and we were all kind of investing in his vision. I didn't read anything or hear anything about a board. The board is what really bothers me about this whole thing. Who's the board, and how did this happen? How did the board get company away from, or control away from Steven? That's the sentence that bothers me here a lot, and I'm upset about that.
Me. And the board began directing actions that I would not ethically agree with or carry out. As a result, I chose to resign in protest, rather than lend my name or authority to decisions I could not ethically support. Following my resignation, much of the senior leadership team resigned. Following those departures, the board made the decision to issue WARN Act notice and proceed with a mass layoff. People love this word in today's economy. I cannot responsibly speak to further details
Mass
at this
layoff?
time due to ongoing legal and governance matters. What I can say is that the developer and staff acted in good faith and deserved better than the uncertainty they are facing now. I am incredibly dismayed by the situation. Steven, Sheriff.
That's what I'm saying. I thought the board was just Steven. So how did the company shift away? He would have had to give power to somebody else. And this whole thing feels constructed, man. It really feels constructed. Like, why would you, a person who's investing, like, I thought he was investing like 50 million of his own dollars or something in this project. And then plus money from the Kickstarter. It's like, I just believe that this guy was funding this MMO himself because he was just some mega rich guy. And I guess this is just a sad thing where the rich get richer.
So yes, it is now almost certain that Ashes of Creation is going down too. Which is kind of funny because on their original Kickstarter they did mention that should the MMO not launch, they will give people full refund. So
that's why they launched it on Steam. Anything launched on Steam is considered a launch. And they gave everybody all of their cosmetics. They gave everybody all the stuff. All they have to do is deliver on their game time. All they have to do, they have to officially release the game and still deliver on their game time. That's the only thing. They did not fulfill their promise yet. I still am promised 14 months of game time from my $500 initial investment from 6 years ago, but I've already gotten the cosmetics. So they're going to have to officially release the game and give game time, or it's going to be an issue. It's going to be an issue. So they're going to have to deliver on that still.
yes, I think everyone is certain that the MMO will come out, even if it is crumbling. But overall, this also means that MMORPGs just don't have a good record. If you ask me, I do believe that's because people now appreciate more of the old school designs. You know, treating MMORPGs like classic old school RPGs, kinda similar to Baldur's Gate. That's one of the reasons why that game went big. Because that's actually what both World of Warcraft as well as RuneScape boil down to. I don't think people want an MMO be a live service Fortnite Battle Pass. And so now the question remains, how does Riot stay in this? Well, Riot answered by getting another high-profile person to help them with the MMO. In fact, we are talking about Reynold Bartos, also known as the good guy Ray from the Plunderstorm, aka the previous lead producer of World of Warcraft.
I remember hearing about this.
So yes, we're not just talking about anyone. This is another big dog. And the announcement came...
Previous lead producer on WoW at Blizzard. So this guy is, Raymond is working on the League MMO now. They got some really good talent on the League MMO. I'll say that. It's definitely, I have hopium for it. I mean, but at this point, I don't know if we're ever playing another MMO. Well, we'll just have to see, I guess. And even then, I feel like it's still 2030 before we see any type of gameplay.
From his tweet. I'm incredibly excited to be joining Riot Games on the MMO team. From my very first conversation with Riot, I immediately gravitated towards their values, and I was genuinely impressed by how clearly those values showed up throughout the interview process. I made it obvious that kindness, respect, and care aren't just words here, but something the team truly lives by. I am deeply grateful for the opportunity to join such an inspiring group of people, and I can't wait to get started. Showing up every day.
Yeah. Nice statement. Classic Plus will save us. Riot, guys, think about this. In 4 years from now, 5 years from now, if the Riot MMO comes out, we'll say it's going to be competing versus Classic Plus and whatever comes after The Last Titan. So whatever the next big retail expansion is, hopefully we're fully developed into whatever expansion. Well, we'll be into an expansion of Classic Plus by then, with probably another expansion to Classic Plus on the horizon, with maybe raids 7 or 8 for old school RuneScape by then. I'm just trying to think of what would be happening 4 or 5 years from now when the Riot comes out. Like what would it be competing against in the MMO hemisphere? And there's a lot going on in MMOs at that point in time.
To provide value for Riot Games and help deliver an MMO experience players truly enjoy. And as a fun bonus I've been barely able to contain, I'll be re-queuing with my longtime duo partner, Orlando, who was also previously at Blizzard. Given our track record on World of Warcraft, I have a feeling we'll be moving fast on day one. Special note, I am very grateful for all of you who have reached out on my
competition of MMO players dying of old age. Oh, true.
Last post in direct messages. That was the post where he announced that he was leaving Blizzard. The recruitment process was quite fast. And so, right now, his position on the MMO is a senior game producer, meaning that he stuck the landing on another really important role. If anything, this really solidified the stance of the Riot MMO. Because while everyone else is crumbling, because the MMO is getting more higher positions, it means they are now committed with the dedication to this game. And as a result, right now, the Riot MMO stands as the single titan that is still waiting for its release. Everyone else was already shut down. And so...
He didn't mention anything about Classic Plus. But I guess it's already WoW, still WoW. So he did talk about WoW. But he showed retail. Did he say something about Classic Plus? I didn't hear it.
Oh, we can be certain
he said we might get news at
one
okay.
thing. As long as we keep seeing more gacha skins, we will get the fundings for the Riot MMO.
Yeah, guys, just League of Legends, just keep putting out those $1,000 skins. People will buy it and we'll get an MMO. That is the recipe for success right there. And for that reason, I'm in. Let's go, Riot. All right, well, I'll see all of you guys in 5 years for that MMO. Maybe for the alpha testing or whatever. And we'll see how it is, right?